If you're ambitious but lazy, that combination makes sense once you understand Gyoshin. I discovered this framework by studying Eastern philosophy, specifically two concepts. Gyo teaches disciplined action, and Shin teaches conscious observation. Together, they explain why some people maintain routines effortlessly. Japanese warriors and Zen masters used these principles, and they work because they align with human nature. You'll discover 4 insights that make consistency automatic, beginning with the most important one. Your laziness is intelligence, not weakness. Part 1. The intelligence of resistance. The Tao Te Ching states, "The wise man does not attempt anything very big and thus achieves greatness." The most profound text in Eastern philosophy is telling you that forcing yourself is the problem, not the solution. When you avoid a task, you're experiencing what Taoist masters call ziran, natural spontaneity. Your resistance isn't weakness, it's intelligence. Your mind is protecting you from wasting energy on misaligned action. Here's what this looks like in practice. A Japanese sword apprentice struggled for months with traditional forging methods. Dawn practice, perfect technique, broken blades. Every single day, his master noticed him working alone one night, moving differently, naturally. "Why force the morning schedule?" the master asked. The apprentice switched to night forging. He became known as the Moon Forger, creating legendary blades by honoring his natural rhythm instead of fighting it. This is exactly what Zhuangzi understood. Offered the position of prime minister, ultimate power and prestige in ancient China. He declined, saying he preferred to drag his tail in the mud like a turtle. His contemporaries called him unmotivated. Those contemporaries are forgotten. Zhuangzi's wisdom still guides us 2,000 years later. Japanese calligraphy masters teach, the brush moves when it wants to move. Force the stroke, ruin the character. Hesitate too long, miss the moment. This is the Gyoshin connection. Gyo provides readiness. The trained hand, the prepared mind. Shin provides timing, knowing the exact moment to act. One without the other is useless. The I Ching calls this Shi, perfect timing. You can have flawless technique and iron discipline. Act at the wrong moment, you fail. Your resistance might be wisdom recognizing bad timing, not laziness avoiding hard work. Consider Han Shin, ancient China's greatest general. 3 years of apparent inaction. His peers saw laziness. He was reading the moment. When timing aligned, he conquered all of China in 18 months. 3 years of nothing enabled the fastest military campaign in Chinese history. You've experienced this. That inner resistance when something feels wrong but logic says push through. Lao Tzu called this your connection to the Tao itself, natural order trying to guide you. This explains why forced discipline fails, why rigid routines collapse, why that productivity system everyone swears by leaves you exhausted. You're not broken, you're violating natural law, but understanding your resistance is useless if you don't know what to do with that information. Recognition without action changes nothing. You need to know how to find your natural rhythm and work with it, not against it. That's where the second piece of Gyoshin comes in. Part 2. The minimal effective dose. The laziest people often accomplish the most, and here's why. Gyo teaches us that one perfect sword stroke beats 1,000 wild swings, but here's what most people miss. You still need to practice that one stroke 1,000 times. The effort is still there. The discipline is still there. But instead of spreading yourself thin across 100 different techniques, you're channeling everything into mastering one. When you try to do everything, when you chase that feeling of being productive with your color-coded schedules and your 15 daily habits, that's when you accomplish nothing. Real mastery looks lazy to the outside world because you're doing one thing over and over while everyone else is frantically multitasking. Think about a master archer versus a beginner. The beginner shoots hundreds of arrows, trying different stances, different grips, exhausting themselves with variation. The master shoots 50 arrows with identical form, and every arrow hits the target. Who worked harder? The beginner. Who accomplished more? The master. This is the paradox of effortless achievement. It requires tremendous effort, just intelligently applied. Parkinson's law proves this mathematically. Work expands to fill the time available. Give yourself 2 hours for a task that needs focus, and you'll spend 90 minutes procrastinating and 30 minutes panicking. Give yourself 10 minutes of pure concentration, and you'll often accomplish more than those 2 distracted hours ever could. This isn't about working less, it's about working with surgical precision. The Hagakure, the samurai manual, puts it perfectly. In the way of the samurai, if one uses discrimination, he will fall behind. One needs neither loyalty nor devotion, but simply to become one with the intent. That intent, that singular focus, is what transforms minimal effort into maximum results. You're not doing less work, you're eliminating wasted motion. Here's what Western productivity culture doesn't understand. They see someone practicing one thing repeatedly and think it's limiting. They're wrong. When Morihei Ueshiba, founder of Aikido, practiced the same movement 10,000 times, people thought he was wasting his talent. Those people are forgotten. Ueshiba's art is still changing lives. Depth beats breadth every single time. The Chinese say Yi Jin Jing. One thread runs through all. Find your thread and pull it. For writers, it's 500 words daily. For fighters, it's one combination. For builders, it's one sales call. The magic isn't the action. It's what happens when you repeat it perfectly, daily, without exception. Here's where compound interest becomes your weapon. 1% daily improvement sounds weak. That's exactly why it works. Your ego wants 50% overnight. That's why you fail. 1% compounds. After 1 year, you're 37 times better. Not 37%, 37 times. This is how masters are built. Through progress so small others can't see it happening. Eastern philosophy knew this before calculators existed. The bamboo tree proves it. 4 years of watering, nothing visible. Year 5, 90 feet in 6 weeks. Those 4 years weren't wasted. The tree was building roots that could support massive growth. Your minimal daily practice is building roots. When growth comes, it'll look like overnight success to everyone who wasn't watching you water. The Tao Te Ching warns, the flame that burns twice as bright burns half as long. Your motivation bursts, that's the too bright flame. Burns out every time. The minimal effective dose burns steady. It doesn't drain you because it matches your natural capacity. Then it slowly expands that capacity, day by day, invisible, unstoppable. But even perfect actions fail without the right environment, and this is where most people sabotage themselves before they even begin. Part 3. Environmental architecture. Willpower is finite, environment is infinite. Most people don't understand what environment really means, and that's why they fail. Environment isn't just your room or your desk setup. Environment is everything you allow into your consciousness. It's the people you spend time with, the content you consume, the conversations you have, the thoughts you rehearse. Your environment is the invisible water you swim in every single day, and most people are drowning in poison without realizing it. The Shin principle teaches us something profound. Awareness of your patterns lets you build around them, not through them. If you spend your mornings scrolling through social media, your evenings watching random videos, filling every quiet moment with digital noise, then congratulations, you're exactly like everyone else. That's what the 99% does. They wake up, check their phone, consume whatever the algorithm feeds them, and wonder why they feel empty. You think you're different while doing exactly what everyone else does. You're not special. You're predictable. The 1%? They architect their consumption as carefully as a master chef selects ingredients. They replace mindless scrolling with philosophy podcasts. They swap reality TV for documentaries about people who achieved what they want to achieve. They don't rely on willpower to avoid garbage content. They make it impossible to access. This isn't about becoming a monk. It's about understanding that your mind becomes what you feed it, and most people are feeding theirs junk food. Remember the moon forger from earlier? His environmental shift wasn't just about time of day. He removed himself from the morning crowd, the chatter, the comparison, the conventional wisdom. He created a sanctuary where his natural rhythm could flourish. That's environmental architecture, not just moving your phone to another room, but creating conditions where your true nature can emerge. Let me be specific about what this means for you. That phone beside your bed, it's not just disrupting your sleep. It's programming your mind to seek stimulation the moment consciousness returns. Those motivational videos you watch, if they're not connected to specific action, they're just entertainment masquerading as growth. The people you complain with about how hard life is, they're anchoring you to exactly where you are. The friction principle is simple physics applied to behavior. Make bad habits hard, good habits automatic. But here's what most people miss. Friction works both ways. Every time you have to search for your running shoes, that's friction against exercise. Every time junk food is at eye level in your kitchen, that's friction removed from poor eating. Masters don't rely on motivation. They design their environment so the right choice is the only easy choice. The perfect man uses his mind like a mirror, going after nothing, welcoming nothing, responding but not storing. But how can you respond correctly when your mind is cluttered with everyone else's thoughts? When your environment is designed by algorithms to keep you distracted? You can't. That's why environmental design comes before any other practice. This is where 90% of people sabotage themselves. They try to build new habits in a toxic environment. It's like planting seeds in poisoned soil and wondering why nothing grows. They know about the Moonforger's story. They understand minimal effective dose. But they're still surrounded by people who mock their efforts, still consuming content that reinforces their old patterns, still living in spaces designed for their former self. The ancient Chinese had a concept called feng shui, literally wind and water, not the watered-down version sold to Westerners, but the understanding that your environment shapes your destiny. They knew that a scholar's study should face east for morning light and new beginnings, that a warrior's quarters should be sparse, containing only what serves the mission. Every detail mattered because every detail influenced the mind. Most people fail here because they treat environment as optional instead of foundational. They think they can overcome bad design with good intentions. They can't. Nobody can. The environment always wins. But all of this breaks down without the final piece, the one element that brings Gyo and Shin together into something unstoppable. Part 4. The Integration Protocol. Everything you've learned means nothing if you can't bring Gyo and Shin together into one living system. Look at what we've discovered. Your resistance contains intelligence. That's Shin showing you the way. Small aligned actions compound exponentially. That's Gyo building your strength. Environmental architecture creates automatic success. That's both working together. But here's what separates those who transform from those who just understand. Integration. The synthesis is simpler than you think and harder than you'll expect. Every morning, 2-minute awareness check. That's it. Ask yourself, what's my energy telling me today? Where's my natural focus pulling me? This isn't meditation. This isn't journaling. This is reconnaissance. You're gathering intel about your internal state so you can align your actions with reality, not fantasy. Every evening, review your practice, not your productivity, your practice. Did you honor your natural rhythm or fight it? Did your environment support you or sabotage you? Did you work with your patterns or against them? This creates a feedback loop based on actual results, not feelings. Results don't lie. Feelings do. You're not copying someone else's morning routine. You're discovering your own system through observation and adjustment. The samurai called this kaizen, continuous improvement. Not dramatic overhaul, not revolutionary change, just persistent refinement based on what actually works for you. A Zen master maintained his practice for 60 years. Someone asked him how. He said, "I don't maintain it, it maintains me." That's the difference between forcing a routine and discovering your rhythm. One drains you, the other fuels you. One needs constant willpower, the other becomes automatic. The I Ching says, difficulty at the beginning works supreme success. Your first few weeks will feel weird. You'll catch yourself falling back into old patterns, forcing productivity, comparing yourself to others, ignoring your resistance. Normal, expected. The difference now, you have a system for catching yourself and realigning. Listen carefully. You're not fixing laziness because you were never lazy. You're aligning with your nature. That ambitious but lazy combination that brought you here. That's not a bug. That's your system screaming that there's a better way. You've always known conventional productivity was broken. Now you know why. The choice is simple. Not easy, but simple. Keep fighting yourself forever. Wake up each day to battle your own nature. Exhaust yourself trying to be someone you're not, or work with yourself starting now. The path of Gyoshin isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming who you always were, just with better strategy. The samurai didn't train to become warriors. They trained to express their warrior nature more perfectly. You're not here to become productive. You're here to express your unique nature more effectively. Your resistance was never the enemy. It was the teacher. Your struggle wasn't failure. It was your spirit rejecting a system that was never built for you. Now you have a system built from Eastern wisdom and designed for your nature. Stop talking about it. Stop thinking about it. Use it.